We finished our sewing with our sewing machine. We've put that 1-inch cotton binding tape on the bottom of the upper. And the reason we do that is because we want to reinforce this seam between the upper and the lower, because that's where you're going to be pulling on and off your moccasin. And over time, because this is a lighter weight hide, we have seen at the high tension points that it has started to tear. So with this 1-inch cotton binding tape, we've reduced the likelihood of that happening. Now, if you wanted to go really traditional and do this all by hand, you certainly can with the split grain pig or cow that we provide in our kit. But you could also use a full grain thickness deer hide or moose hide. And the reason that we don't do that in our kits is because we've found that the lightweight alternative is as good with the cotton binding tape, and it's also more economical. So to keep our kit prices to a minimum, then we use the split grain hide, but you can of course use full thickness deer or moose. It just will cost you more. So with the full thickness deer or moose, you wouldn't need to use the cotton binding tape. You could just skip that step altogether and sew your lower to your upper directly. If you do want full thickness hide for your uppers, you can contact us directly to see about pricing for that. But otherwise, in our kits, the reason we use the split grain is because we've found with the binding tape, it works beautifully and it also keeps the price lower. And we're moving on now to our next step, which is attaching our uppers to our lowers. So you're going to fold your uppers in half. And you're going to pinch that half. Grab your lower and match the middle of the back seam with the middle of your upper inside out. So you should be looking at the inside of your upper right now, and the outside of your lower is matching up with the outside of your upper. And you're going to start with a fresh piece of sinew, make a knot in your sinew, and attach the two. And you're using this open edge now to sew your upper to your lower, and it's just a nice open whip stitch. And you're going to go all the way around, starting from the center of your moccasin lower, and you're going to start stitching towards the swoop side of your moccasin upper. Okay, so start towards the swoop, and you're just going to do a simple whip stitch, same distance as always, about 1/8 of an inch between stitches, and your depth of your stitch, about 1/8 of an inch, making sure that you're pulling your stitching very tight. And you're going to work all the way around. And when I get to the tongue or the vamp of my moccasin, I'm going to reinforce it there. I've gotten to the tongue or vamp of my moccasin now, so I'm going to reinforce that stitch. So that was once through, twice, and for good luck I'm just going to go a third time. And now I'm going to rotate my upper across my vamp, and as I go along I'm just going to raise my upper to match the line of the vamp of the lower here. So I'm just going to continue doing an open whip stitch now. This has changed from our workshops. We used to have to do a closed whip stitch across here, but I've just decided that it's not necessary anymore. So I'm also going to reinforce at the vamp. So it's going to be reinforced on either side of that high tension point. Twice, thrice, and we're just going to head straight across, following the line that we cut our vamp at. I'm going all the way across, and when we get to the end, we're going to do our regular 3 times through the same spot, and then our loop-de-loo through that little loop and pull tight and snip it off. So I've gone all the way across the top of my vamp, and I'm just shy, but that's okay because I'm still going to have lots of overlap for the other side. So I'm going to start a new thread, head back to the back. I've already got my thread started there. And I'm just going to do an open whip stitch again, starting from the back, and now I'm heading to the right side. And when I get to the vamp here, I'm going to double it up, do 2 extra stitches here and 2 extra stitches here on either side of the vamp. And then when I get to the top of the vamp, I'm just going to lay my upper over top of what I've already sewed. So instead of going through 2 layers of hide now, I'm going to be going through 3 layers. And that's what's creating that nice generous overlap. Okay, so I'm going to just do an open whip stitch all the way around, reinforce here, and then stitching all the way through and on top of the already sewn upper on this side. Okay, so I've started at the back and I've gone all the way to the vamp. I've reinforced here and here, and now I'm heading across the vamp again, and I've already started going over top of where the other side of the upper has landed, and we're just now creating that generous overlap. I'm going to whip stitch through 3 layers of hide all the way to the end, triple it up, go through the loop twice, and trim it off, and then we'll have the grand reveal. Okay, so I'm done. I'm ready to reveal my moccasin. Ooh la la, very nice. Okay, so I am ready for my button. So you're going to put your boot liner on. Actually, sorry. Getting too far ahead of myself. I have to do my other one. So I'm going to rewind the video and review how to do it. And I'm going to sew the second upper to my second lower. And then it's time for the button.